Hi guys, welcome back to my channel. This is not a good angle, but I don't feel like setting up my tripod. I wasn't even supposed to film a video today. It's Saturday, I just was kind of bored. So for my birthday, which was back in February, I got a few different new art supplies I kind of wanted to try. One of them was this Arteza brush pen set. So they're called Real Brush Pens. They're water-based ink, so it's not like a Copic, those are alcohol-based. I am thinking that they're going to be kind of similar to watercolor paint. Now, I'm more of like a pencil artist, but I do kind of like using markers and pens sometimes. I feel like I have a sense of control with those compared to paintbrushes. Alright you guys, so here they are. I'm going to open this up now. I've opened it up before. This isn't like an unboxing type video. I've swatched them a little bit before, but I haven't like actually used them. They come on 2 plastic trays. So remember, this is a 24 set. So it's just going to be 2 trays of 12. Oh, that's really pretty. Okay, so what I like about this, even though it's a 24 set, which is a fairly small range of colors, especially with like pens or pencils, so even with the 24 set, you get a really good like variety here. Like you get like neutrals and grays and natural looking colors, and then a few brighter colors. I do like the colors that I'm getting here with the 24 set. Okay, there is a swatch on the back that has the names and the numbers of the colors. So these are the colors I have. This set does include a water brush pen. So mine is like down here somewhere. Let me go get it. So this is the water brush. I don't know if this is focusing right now, but this is the water brush. So personally, I never really use water brushes. I'm kind of afraid that I'm not really gonna know what I'm doing. I'm gonna try it out and see. I do have another one. I don't know what company this one is by, but this is what another water brush I have looks like for comparison. The Arteza one looks like it holds a lot more water though because of this part of the barrel, so I'm not really sure. Okay, so now let's take one of these and uncap it and look at it closer. On the barrel here it says Peach A116, so that's like the number and the color, so that is convenient. And then on the back it also has this, so you can see which color it is just by looking at it. Okay, and then the cap is off like that. And this is what the brush tip looks like. So it's kind of long actually. So the first thing I'm going to do is a little color swatch of my own here because I like to keep color swatches of all my supplies. Makes things a lot easier for me. And then after that, I think I'm going to do a little illustration. So I have an inspiration for this. This was something I did for Inktober, one of the Inktober drawings I did. Day 19, Fairy. This was not the official list, but it was a list that I came up with an art group on Instagram. Anyways, so this was one of the drawings I did that I really liked. I did use a couple reference photos, but this kind of was a little bit of a creative piece because I just wanted to make this girl look a little bit like a fairy. I think that this would look really cool with color. What the heck is up with my fine liner? I thought I had ink in this. It's annoying. These are really pretty. I am aware that you can use water to soften them and lighten them and everything like that, but I kind of just wanted to do a swatch of what the pigments look like when they are saturated. So I think I'm going to put the numbers and the colors underneath the swatches. So I don't know about you guys, but these colors scream spring and pretty flowers and stuff like that to me. So this is really exciting. Although this wasn't even the tray that I was most excited about, I'm actually more excited about the next tray, which has all of the neutral colors. So those are the colors I'm more likely to use, but I think that these colors are really, really pretty. You guys, this turtle green color is such a rich, beautiful, deep green. It has to be my favorite color in this entire set, I think. I also like how they have a little variety of natural green tones, and then there is like this bright green here, which is called light green, that I might not use as often, but it's good to include like a couple brighter colors. I just like how the majority of the colors in this tray are more natural and colors that you would probably use. Alright, and now I'm moving on to my last row of 6, and these are browns and grays. So there is one brown right here, which I actually really like too. Realistically, I would be using this bottom row a lot. So we have chocolate. Oh my gosh, my pens are just, my fine liners, they're just not working with me today. And those are all the colors, you guys, so I really like the names that they have too. So instead of using names like cool gray, they have like elephant gray and dolphin gray and snake gray, which I find interesting, and then noir, of course, is black. I kind of want to use that turtle green color I was talking about. It's really, really beautiful. It's like a deep bluish green color. I wonder if you can do like put a little layer of water down first and then add, yeah, you can do that too, I think. If you want to get a lighter tone, you can add some water first and then add the color afterwards. So I think this is a matter of just learning to control how much water you're using and things like that, kind of just like how regular watercolor paint works. I mean, it's a very sensitive sort of medium where you have to be really gentle and careful with it. But so far I'm really, really liking these because you can get that really nice strong pigment and then you can sort of blend out part of it and make it lighter. I just sketched a little tulip. I know that this isn't actually really what the leaves on a tulip looks like, but that's okay. That's not really the point. Just wanted to sketch that out and do a little bit of like a demo with these. I'm not really sure if you're supposed to do shadows or lighter colors first when you're doing this, because with normal watercolor I always do like light colors first and then I actually move into the dark colors. But I'm not really sure. I think with these you can do the dark color first and then blend the light color in. See, this is where the problems come in because I don't know what I'm doing with a water brush. So for the next petal, I'm gonna try doing light first. And I think I'm actually gonna do like that and then go in with a water brush and try to bring up some color. It does take a little bit of work to blend, just like a normal marker would. And then towards the bottom, I'm gonna add, oh, see, that's nice. If you add the dark color afterwards, it bleeds a little bit into the light color. Oh, that's a really, really pretty blend, actually. They look like, you know, kind of similar to like a Copic marker tip, but they're not. Like, see, they're more like an actual paintbrush. So when you use them, they like bend and like, they're just a little bit more like an actual paintbrush tip, and they're not a hard nib. Okay, now I'm gonna use a bit of the green. I honestly don't know what I just created. Okay, so now that I have the swatch done, I did a little bit of practice. I think what I'm gonna do is actually transfer this Inktober sketch onto this paper, and then I might just voiceover, like speed it up and voiceover it. So I am going to get some practice with these pens on a real piece. Okay, so I'm starting the voiceover now. That's why there's a sound change if there is one. Sorry about that. But I started off with this really beautiful fairy sketch, and by the end of this, she's not even a fairy anymore. So that kind of tells you how that went. But I very much was doing like a trial and error method here, which kind of helped me to learn a lot more about how to use these pens. So I started off with the skin, which it turned out really well in the end. I really liked how the skin turned out. I was trying a few different methods. First, I tried to add the color down first and then blend it out with water. That was really hard. And then you would get a harsher line. So if I didn't want a harsher line and I wanted a smooth result, I would touch the tip of the water brush pen, or the water brush, to the brush pen, and I would get a diluted color that way and a lighter tone. So that's a method that people use when they're mixing colors with markers, and that works here, but I was touching it to the water brush instead. And then I also was trying to add water down first and then put the pen on top, which is okay, but you don't always have the most control with that method, but you can get a lighter tone that way. So I added a bit of pink to my peach tones to give her more life, because she does have a lighter skin tone, but I didn't want it to be just one color and too one-dimensional. And so the skin was going great, and then I went to start with the hair, and I started having some difficulty because I wasn't really sure how to do the hair strokes. So I don't know, like maybe that's a fault of mine. I'm not very experienced working with markers or pens with hair, but I kind of got the hang of it, and I found that the hair was turning out to be super, super vibrant, like more vibrant than I could get with watercolors. And the left side was going okay, like her hair strands that are the one that's kind of just falling in her face and behind her, the other side of her. But when I got to the right side, I realized that I had started to overdo some of the areas. And it's kind of the same with watercolor, where if you overdo an area and you saturate the paper with water, it doesn't really look very good. Looks a little bit muddy and messy. So that you'll start to see as I continue to work on that side of her hair. I kept wanting to add more and more pigment from the brush pen, and I think that's where I made the mistake, was not starting out more simple and being more careful with my technique. But anyway, it's okay because it was just a practice, and I think it turned out pretty good otherwise. But the funny thing is, I forgot about her fairy ear and I covered it. Like, I was so focused on trying to get her hair right that I totally forgot that she was a fairy, and I covered up her pointy fairy ear. And once I realized that, I was like, I'm just not gonna do the wings because I wanted her pointy fairy ear to be there. So I ended up not even doing the wings. And okay, another mistake I made here was I went in and did the lipstick a little bit too early. So the thing about these pens is if you do a certain area and it dries and then you go back and try to work around it, I kind of forgot that you could reactivate the area that had already dried. So what had happened was I worked on her lips and they were really intense and they were pretty and whatever, and then later I went back to work on the skin around her lips a little bit, and I forgot about how you can reactivate it, and she actually just had her like lipstick bleed off into her skin, and it was terrible. But yeah, so that's another thing I learned, was I probably need to leave some of those details for a very, very last. Same thing with her eyebrows, they totally just leaked into her skin. And at that point I was like, it's okay, I don't really care. She went from fairy to, I don't know, like drunk girl or something like that. And I kind of just accepted it, and I wanted to continue to work on it and see what results I could get. I added some brown to the hair. I thought it was too dark, but it kind of gave it a little bit more depth, so that's good. I'm still really, really proud and happy about the skin. I think that the skin just turned out wonderful. Like, I don't know how, but I never thought I could get that result of skin with a pen. You do have to worry a little bit about streaks, so you have to work kind of quickly in a given area. You don't want to end up with streaks. As I said before, I was pretty much using the method of touching the tip of the brush pen to the tip of the water brush because that is how I got the best results. And then for the shadows, the dark shadows, I didn't do that. I just kind of went in there with the pen and then blended out later. But that's if you want a really, really dark area, because you're not going to be able to blend it out very well. And again, I can recommend the method of first laying down some water and then putting some pen over it, but you will lose a little bit of control that way, but you'll get a much lighter tone than what comes off of the brush nib, so like already. So I do recommend that. For the nose, I did go in directly with the pen, and I wanted to get some harsher like lines in there so you could definitely see where her nose was. So I blended it out a little bit, but it's hard to completely blend out those lines, as you can tell. And then I did some detail in her hair, and at this rate you can see that there are some issues with this, like her lipstick is still bleeding off, her eyebrows are still bleeding off, there's an area of the paper where the graphite smudged, so if you use these, make sure you totally get rid of the graphite with a kneaded eraser first before you start, because the graphite will get smudged in somehow, like the water will just mess with it. I don't know if I just did something wrong there, but I did have an issue with graphite smearing on her forehead. So that was another like fall. But I did like how the hair turned out. I liked how the skin turned out, and in general how this piece looked. For the background, I wanted to try the wet on wet watercolor method a little bit and see if that would work. I mean, you know, the closest you can get to that. So I laid a wash of water down with a water brush, then went in with my turtle green, that really deep blue-green color, and tried to create a little bit of like a loose watercolor effect. So I thought that turned out nice until I accidentally smeared some of the color from her hair onto the background, and then I had to add orange or peach to the background, and that was a little bit artistic looking. And then to finish her off, I did like some harsh black mascara, so now she really is more of a drunk girl than a fairy, but it's totally fine. I learned a lot. And yes, I know I should have done like a very dark brown for her eyelashes instead, but I think I just had given up at that point. And I decided to make some notes about these pens for my future self and even just for you guys to see. So for a light wash, first you should use the method of touching the nibs together, the water brush and the brush pen, and you'll get a lighter wash. You'll be able to see the water in the brushed pen tip. Also, the blend is more difficult if you first use the pen and then add water on top. It's still going to be kind of harsh and dark. Watch out for the color reactivating and then bleeding into areas that you don't want it to bleed into. With technique, you can get your details because the nib is pretty sharp. Be careful of streaks, like you have to work fast like you would with a marker. You can add water to the paper first, kind of like the wet on wet method a little bit, and you'll get a pretty cool effect, a loose effect like I did in the background. Also, if you want a very nice blend, the best way to get it is to lighten that color up with the touching nibs method. I don't know what you call that, but you know that method if you're a marker artist. But use that to get a lighter shade. It's much, much easier. And that's it for this video, guys. I really hope that you enjoyed watching this demo slash review slash first time trying a product video, because it was a lot of fun for me, and so far I really like using these pens. I just need to kind of get my techniques right. So if I do get my techniques right, I will definitely make a video maybe talking about tips and tricks and stuff like that for water soluble pens like these ones. But anyway, thank you so much for watching this video, and comment below your thoughts or opinions or anything that you think about anything that I talk about in this video. And yeah, I'll make something similar in the future, hopefully. So thanks again so much for watching, and I'll see you guys in the next video. Bye guys!